Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
We can definitely hear you, sir.
Nice.
So real quick, just to give you an introduction, I know we're trying to catch up on time. As you guys know, Leemo is the Chief NICE Officer for Nova Wallet, and we're on AAG every week together. So I'm really looking forward to this talk. It's actually something that is near and dear to my heart as a governance nerd. So I will leave it to you, my friend, and look forward to this talk very much.
Thank you very much, Funky, and thanks to everybody for hosting this event. It's been really good so far. So my name is Leemo from Nova Technologies, the company behind Nova Wallet, and I'm here today to talk to you about two of my favorite things. On one hand, you've got Polkadot governance, and specifically OpenGov. In the other hand, you've got the most amazing mobile wallet that there is, Nova Wallet. And when you combine the two, you get my presentation that you're going to really enjoy. So maybe for those of you that are not familiar with governance, maybe you're new to Polkadot and this is your first time in the Polkadot eco, what is governance? So governance is this system that allows us to collectively make decisions, hopefully in a decentralized way. And governance has some set rules, things like thresholds, percentages, voter turnout that needs to be achieved in order for proposals to pass. But what makes Polkadot governance special? Why do I care about it so much? Why do the guys and girls at Nova Technologies and Nova Wallet care about it so much? Why is there so many people in the Polkadot ecosystem that really care about it? Well, to begin, Polkadot governance is fully on-chain. There's no such requirement for voting or signaling on platforms like Snapshot.io, which kind of separates us from other ecosystems. Polkadot governance is also fully autonomous and permissionless. Anybody can submit a referendum about anything whenever they want, and it doesn't require you to go to a developer team or a foundation to request permission to do this. It's super, super amazing. And Polkadot governance is self-executing. If a referendum passes, if this token holder DAO that we call Polkadot wants something to happen, it will enact automatically. It doesn't require intervention by a development team or a foundation to actually implement the change, which is very different from some other ecosystems. So that's all relevant to Gov1 as well as OpenGov. So before we dive into some of the differences that OpenGov brings, let's go through a brief history. So OpenGov's been live on Kusama for around 6 months now, since November last year, after being announced by Gav earlier in the year. But it's an ever-evolving process. It's iterative. There were some issues to begin with. Things like the decision period were too long, especially for Kusama, this move fast break things, canary in the coal mine, cousin chain to Polkadot, the real battleground where things get tested to make sure that it's going to work really good on Polkadot. So that got lowered, as well as things like the submission deposit was too expensive. It's been lowered, and now we've got this nice governance ecosystem in Kusama that's really thriving. And now we're at the point where we are in Polkadot, where the PR has been merged on GitHub in March, and now we're all eagerly awaiting the next runtime upgrade, which will finally unleash OpenGov onto Polkadot, which is super exciting, super looking forward to a bit of drama as well. Now, that was all relevant to Gov1, right? So what's the differences in OpenGov? Why are we moving to this new system? What's the benefits of it? So first of all, it increases decision-making throughput, and I think some of my emojis are missing, but increases decision-making throughput. In Gov1, you had this one power level, this one kind of, I forgot the word for it now, but one power level in root, right? So every single referendum had to go through this one privilege level. That was the word I was looking for. So we had to be super careful to make sure that all referendums were properly scrutinized and that we understood everything that was going on in case somebody put some malicious proposal forward. So why can we have this increased decision-making capacity in OpenGov? It's because of this concept of origins. There's 15 of them, all the way from root, the highest privilege level, all the way down to the small tipper track and everything in between. Why does it make it safer? You cannot, for example, propose a runtime upgrade, change the underlying code of the chain, the business logic on the small tipper track. It just won't let you do it. It won't execute properly. So it allows people to only really heavily scrutinize and review these higher privilege level tracks like root, like the root origin, like Whitelist caller and treasurer, and maybe not pay so much attention to small tipper, for example, because it can't really damage the network that much. And finally, it removes a point of centralization in the council. So the council had some extra powers on top of the, how normal token holders connect. And they really acted as the guardians, the custodians of this Polkadot treasury, this shared collected pot of money that we have as a token holder DAO. Now, they've done a really good job over the past few years, really stewarding spends of the treasury. But now we have the capability to remove that point of centralization. In Polkadot, we really strive towards actual decentralization. We don't just meme about it for Twitter clout. We actually try and do it, which is, incredible. But there's some pain points, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? There's some issues for adoption to get people to understand it properly. So lack of awareness about governance is a massive issue, not just in Polkadot, but in the whole blockchain space in general. The average token holder that buys these proof of stake tokens, they know they can stake them, maybe do a bit of DeFi and buy some NFTs. They're not aware of governance. And that might be because in other ecosystems, governance isn't front and center, right? Because their governance isn't really decentralized. It's a group of people that control everything and then pretend that votes actually matter when they don't. But in Polkadot, we're different. Also, the complexity of understanding governance for newcomers, especially this really sophisticated model that we have in OpenGov, right? Things like the support and approval curves, the decision period, confirmation period, it's all confusing when you first dip your toes in to Polkadot governance. We need to abstract that away, make it easier for when newcomers first get here for them to understand it. Then the volume of referendums, right? The average token holder does not have enough time at all to review every referendum that's happening. On Polkadot in the past 2 years, we've had 120 referendums. But since the introduction of OpenGov on Kusama 6 months ago, there's over 200 referendums in just 6 months. It proves that this OpenGov model, people feel more free and more empowered to push through proposals or referenda to make cool stuff, to get money to build awesome things, right? But for the average token holder, it leads to a bit of voter fatigue, which can then lead to poor voter turnout, right? We always talk about in Kusama direction and Polkadot direction about these whale accounts, these big token holder accounts that kind of, swing votes in their favor. It's super annoying. But how do we fix it? We increase voter turnout, right? If there's 10 times the amount of tokens and the token holders voting on stuff, it means that their slice of the pie that normally was like most of the pie, right? It actually becomes a little tiny slice and you don't need to care about them. Super awesome. So we just need more voter turnout. Now, it's all well and good just complaining about these things, right? On Twitter and on your Discords and stuff. But, Nova Sound Technologies and Nova Wallet, we really actually try to implement some solutions to these problems, right? So awareness, people are not aware of governance, right? So as soon as you create or import your account into the amazing Nova Wallet application, you obviously have your asset screen with all your assets, your NFTs, that kind of good stuff. And the very next screen is the vote screen. So it's front and center. You can see all of this amazing governance stuff that's going on and hopefully get bitten by the governance bug and actually participate alongside me and people like ChaosDAO, right? Complexity. Again, it's super complex. All these support and approval curves, all this kind of stuff. It's really hard to get into. You've got to kind of sit down and really study it for a little bit. Nova abstracts that away in our amazing, elegant interface. Things like that green bar instead of a curve. It's just so much easier. We need to collectively, as an ecosystem, really abstract away these complexities so people stick around and don't get, worried and scared when they first see our amazing tech and our actual decentralization. And finally, overall volume of referendums and voter turnout. We solve this in the same way, right? So OpenGov has this thing called agile delegations. You can delegate your voting power. You can assign your voting power to somebody else. So, for example, maybe you are not that technical, right? And you're worried that if you vote in this root track referendum for runtime upgrades, to change the code of the network, that maybe you'll miss something and make the wrong decision. Well, you can delegate, you can assign your voting power to a specialist developer, right? Somebody that understands exactly what they're doing, and they can vote. And then when they vote, you vote alongside them, right? It's a good way to increase voter turnout. It turns inactive voters into active voters. And then as part of my efforts at ChaosDAO, right? And Nova obviously as well, we were wondering, hey, how do people actually find us, right, to delegate to us? We want to get involved in this governance stuff, but does somebody have to go to Twitter and then find our account address on the pinned message? It's horrible. So what we did at Nova Wallet, right, we made a discoverability layer. We made the delegate registry. It's an open source repo that anybody can provide their information, individual or an organization. and you appear in Nova, and people can find you and delegate to you, and you can explain why they should do that in the interface as well. Other teams have obviously seen this, and they're replicating what we're doing, which is super cool, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together to actually increase the voter turnout. That's it for the main part of my presentation, but I think I have 5 minutes left, so I'd be a bit amiss. I'd get told off. Didn't try and sell you on Nova, on why you should use it, on why you should reject bad UX like Polkadot.js extension and go to something awesome like Nova Wallet. So we're truly multi-chain. We support over 65 Polkadot networks, including both relay chains, Polkadot and Kusama, all these amazing parachains that you probably hear from today, as well as solo chains. And then we've got support over 230 tokens, .ksm and all these parachain tokens. We've also recently added support for Ethereum mainnet, so all your ERC20 tokens are supported, as well as all these XC20 tokens on Moonbeam and Moonriver. We support all of them. We believe in the cross-chain future. I know my good friend Funky does as well. So we make it really easy to send these tokens cross-chain from the Polkadot relay chain to your favorite parachain, between your favorite parachains, and even these parachain native tokens like IBTC from the amazing Interlayer team. You can cross-chain transfer it in 3 clicks to HydraDX, for example, and get started in some DeFi and the Omnipool. Super incredible stuff. We obviously support tons of staking options natively in the UI, .ksm and a bunch of parachains. We're even upgrading our staking interface very soon. We're actually doing a demo on it tomorrow, so don't miss out on that. And if there was a token that wasn't mentioned in the previous slide, don't worry about it. Use the dApp browser, search for that staking dApp on your favorite network, get favoriting it so it's easy to find later on. The dApp browser supports the power of Polkadot.js and MetaMask. So for example, amazing networks like Astar that have this substrate side, this Polkadot side, as well as this EVM, this Ethereum side. You can use Nova for both of them. It's incredible. Also, as I said, we support Ethereum mainnet. So your favorite dApps like Uniswap, you can use them as well. It's great. All from Nova, from the palm of your hand. Governance, obviously one of my favorite topics. I think we have the best UI for governance completely. You can observe, participate, and delegate all from Nova, and not just on Polkadot and Kusama, on your favorite parachains as well. And if you're from a parachain team and you want your governance to be implemented in Nova, just reach out to me and we'll get it done, right? I think most people know about crowd loans, but 20 seconds on crowd loans. You can trustlessly contribute DOT or KSM tokens to your favorite parachain. They can then use that collective pot to bid on a parachain slot auction to win one of these parachain slots. If they're successful, in return, you get some tokens from them. And after the lease period expires, you get back your DOT or KSM. You don't need to worry about it. It's all trustless. You don't need to trust anybody. Nobody can steal your money. It's great. So what's next for Nova? Well, this quarter, we've got nomination pools. We're making them even easier to get involved with. Things like if you have less DOT than it takes to self-nominate, it just directs you straight away to nomination pools, takes away the decision because people get so confused about it, right? We're also upgrading the assets UI to make it even cleaner and easier to do some of your favorite operations. Then going forward in Q2, Q3, we've got things like the staking upgrade, like I said before, and we're implementing DOT swap to get some in-app swaps, which is going to be super powerful. Then in Q4, as part of Chaos DAO, things like multi-sig wallet support, proxy support, and address book, it's going to make it absolutely awesome and so easy to do these governance operations on the move when I'm not at my computer. I'm really looking forward to that, as well as more networks, more staking options, and more cross-chain features all the time, every single week. So to close out, let's build together, right? We all believe in this interoperable future, right? Everybody working together to make the best possible thing, true Web3. Reach out to me on Discord, Telegram, Twitter, Element, right? I'm always about professional Discord reader, right? And join the Nova community, scan the QR code, right? Get in the chats, okay? Talk to me in the chats. I'm always there. Submit your feature ideas on our Canny page. We literally just added 2 amazing community requested features in a security upgrade and a governance upgrade. We do listen to you and we do implement these things. If there's a network, a token, or a dApp that we don't support, let us know as well. We'll reach out to those teams, work with them to actually make it become a reality. And use everything that we provide for yourself. Use Nova Wallet, use our Figma assets page, use our mobile SDKs on Android and iOS, and coming up soon, using our desktop application that's tailored towards enterprises and DAOs, very security focused. Power users are going to love it as well. I'm going to be using it as part of Chaos DAO. Super excited to unveil that to you all probably at the end of this quarter. And once again, thanks to Equilibrium, Talisman, and Parity for organizing this. Thanks to my good friend Funky for emceeing. And I hope that was pretty good and not too boring.
It was great. Thank you so much, Leemo. I wanted to say we do have a couple questions, but I think these are pretty easily answered. One, of course, comes from my good friend KBL. He wants to know, as a former TradFi guy, how does Nova Wallet actually make money?
So right now, Nova Wallet, we basically get treasury funding, right, for all these things. However, obviously, a lot of wallets in the general blockchain space do things like in-app swaps. So MetaMask, for example, does take a percentage on swaps for providing that nice front end for you. And there's other things like spread for on and off ramps that can be used. But right now for Nova, it's just treasury funding right now.
Okay. Next one comes from Daredevil, wants to know if we could share the Chaos DAO delegation pool. But I know that we have, I believe the pinned tweet on the Chaos DAO Twitter has that information. So you can find that there, Daredevil. And then Mina sent you a smiley face instead of a question. So I just at least wanted to relay that. But thank you guys, as always, for for everybody who's watching the talk. Thank you again, Leemo, for being here. Did a great job. As a guy who loves desktop and is pretty much a talisman guy, you did enough arm twisting to get me to use Nova, and I use it pretty much only for governance delegations, but I absolutely love it. The UI is fantastic and very easy to understand, even for a boomer like me. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the next stage, and look forward to hearing from our next panel.